Eid Mubarak, or Happy Eid, as we say in Islam. It's Eid Mubarak. And Eid is almost over. Today is the last day. And I was guided by Allah to wait until this day to speak on the matter, on the subject. And it's interesting because Eid began for me last September. Eid is a celebration of when Abraham obeyed Allah and did not sacrifice his only child, or his own son, I should say. So, it's about obedience. And since the entire religion of Islam is about obedience, Eid is considered our most important holiday. It's a holiday where you are to make your pilgrimage to Mecca or wherever you're guided to make your pilgrimage to. And this is where my Eid began in September. You see, I was in upstate New York, and it was freezing. It was August, and it was freezing. And Allah told me, you need to go to Africa now. But I said, Allah, it's not even September yet. Allah said, go now. So at the very beginning of September, I think it was September 2nd, I left upstate New York in 2025 and took off for Africa. And boy, was I grateful I did that, because as soon as I landed in Africa, it was snowing in September in upstate New York, 2025. And it was the worst winter that I had ever seen from the news, because I wasn't here. Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful I listened to Allah. You see, this was how my Eid began. I made my pilgrimage to Africa following what Allah said. So while I was in Africa, it was beautiful, you know. It was warm, sunny. Rainy season had just ended in September. You know, it doesn't last very long for some reason in 2025. So when I arrived in September, rainy season was just about over. But I love rainy season, so, you know, rainy season in Africa is amazing. It's so peaceful and quiet, and, you know, when the water falls, it feels like it's cleansing your whole spirit, your whole body. So, you know, it didn't matter to me if it was rainy season or not. But the disadvantage of rainy season is it's raining. And also, you know, there's more mosquitoes because there's more standing water pools. So I was grateful to enjoy some of the rainy season, but it was just about over. It ended early. So that was the first sign for me. The second sign for me, after, you know, the snow in upstate New York, was the first sign. These were signs that, you know, Allah doesn't play. And I really need to be more careful about listening to what Allah tells me to do and not arguing. So, you know, it was the end of December in 2025. And I was starting to make plans for having my taxes done here in America. And Allah said, go home and do your own taxes. I said, what? What is January? I can't fly in January. It's too dangerous. You know, we're having the worst winter possible in upstate New York. Allah said, look, that winter is almost over. It was brutal, so it was short. So, because when Allah makes very brutal winters, Allah doesn't usually make them very long. So, I said, Allah, I don't want to go back home, but 2 people in Africa told me, it's time to go. So, I went. And I arrived in January, the first week of January. And the second week of January, I started noticing YouTube posts about people who arrived at the airport only to find that someone had canceled their passport. So now they were going to be stuck in that country applying for a new passport, which is going to cost a fortune because you have to send everything overseas and you have to pay for a new passport. And you have to pay to stay where you're staying while you wait for that new passport. And there's penalties for being in a country beyond what your visa is. So now you have to increase. It's just ridiculous. The fees and the charges and the emotional debt that people will go into being stuck in that trap. And that's what it is, a trap from the tourist industry. You know, they didn't steal enough of your money while you were down enjoying your vacation, charging you $20 for a roll of toilet paper or whatever. But on top of that, they scam you everywhere. They scam you at the hotels. They scam you at the airport. They scam you in the taxi. Every part of your trip, there's a scam involved, especially with the airlines, you know. So now, if you can't make your trip because you don't have your passport, that means the airlines get to keep the money from your ticket and then charge someone double to sit in your seat because they paid last minute. And you see, this is really the reason why they're claiming that people's passports were canceled. Because who's going to call and cancel their passport? Ever. I mean, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? It's valid for 10 years. You may need it someday. Why would you cancel it? You know, they're saying that some people said there's a reported stolen or lost. Well, this is a scam by the airports, by the airlines. It's so that they can get your ticket money and then charge someone else double to sit in your seat. So now they're getting 3 times the price for that seat instead of just the price you originally paid. And then all the hotels and everybody, including the airport around that area, is now going to make money off of you while you sit there and wait to deal with that. And plus the local government is going to make money off of you now because now you have to pay more money for the visa. So it's a big trap that I avoided because Allah told me to go. And don't you know, 3 weeks after that, all the TSA workers quit because the government refused to pay them. So now, to get a flight from anywhere, you have to stand in line 10 hours longer than you normally do just to get through TSA. And this is another scam they created, you see, because now with TSA lines being so long, you will probably miss your connecting flight. And then that'll be your fault, not the airline's fault. So you have to pay for another ticket, and they get to sell your current seat to someone else for double the price. So they get to make 3 times the amount on your seat there too. So either way, they're scamming you, you know? And so following Allah and obeying Allah and completing my Eid to America, my Umrah, I guess you could say, to America, was the most blessed choice that I made. You know, you don't have to obey Allah, but it's a good idea. So, this year in Eid, that is the biggest lesson that I learned, is to make sure you obey. Don't sit there and argue. It's a waste of time. Even if it's the slightest thing, Allah might say, get up and go pick up that piece of paper off the floor. Then you go and pick up that piece of paper, and it turns out to be a number you lost a long time ago, and you really need it right now. You know? Last week, I lost something. Oh, it was a piece to a puzzle, ironically. There's 1,000 pieces on this puzzle. One piece is gone. It's a very distinct piece, you know. It has black and white on one side stripes, and the other side it has fancy colors, oranges and yellows, you know, like tiger colors, you know, and sunshine and lion. Really beautiful piece and distinctive. So I couldn't find it. Well, Allah told me to go look over in my bric-a-brac box. So how would it be in there, you know? But I looked, and there it is. Now, something as simple as that, you know, when you do what Allah tells you, without question, without arguing, your life is so much more blessed, and you will have such a wonderful experience no matter what you're doing. So for me, as I sit here in America without worrying about my passport or my visa. I'm in my house, comfortable and relaxed. And yes, it's cold here. I mean, to be real, it is June 23rd, and it is only 63 degrees out. It doesn't get this cold in wintertime in Africa. Do you understand? So it's freezing here, but I'm here. You know, I didn't give my whole life savings to the airlines. So obey Allah. That is the lesson of Eid. And I'm so grateful for Eid. It has been a wonderful Eid. Every step, every puzzle piece that I put together, every introspection that Allah has placed upon my heart and in my brain, every revelation that I've now come to understand and understand, such a beautiful blessing. Shukran Allah, that means thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak.